Hello, everyone, and welcome. I'm excited to kick off today's presentation with a fascinating look into history. Today, we're exploring the world of Freemasonry and its influence on some of the most famous figures in history. The title of our presentation is Famous Historical Figures Who Were Freemasons and What They Achieved. The subtitle, Presidents, Kings, and Freemasons, History's Hidden Hand, hints at the intriguing connections we'll uncover. Over the next few slides, we'll delve into notable leaders and their accomplishments, revealing how Freemasonry may have played a role behind the scenes. So, let's get started and uncover these hidden stories together. Now, let's take a quick look at what this presentation will cover. We'll start with an introduction to Freemasonry itself, exploring its origins and core principles. Then, we'll look at some key figures in American history who were connected to Freemasonry, highlighting how it influenced the nation's development. From there, we'll examine the relationship between the British monarchy and Freemasonry, which has played a significant role in its history. We'll also explore how Freemasonry was involved in revolutionary movements, shaping ideas of freedom and independence. Moving on, we'll see how Freemasonry has impacted the arts and sciences, fostering creativity and innovation. Then, we'll take a broader view by looking at how Freemasonry is perceived around the world, recognizing its global influence. We'll also discuss modern Freemasonry, how it has evolved and what it looks like today. And finally, we'll wrap up with a conclusion that ties all these points together, emphasizing how Freemasonry's history and principles continue to resonate today. This overview sets the stage for a deeper dive into each of these fascinating topics. Welcome to our third slide, where we begin to explore the fascinating world of Freemasonry. First, let's clarify what Freemasonry actually is. It's one of the oldest and most well-known fraternal organizations in the world, dating back hundreds of years. At its core, Freemasonry is about brotherhood, moral development, and personal growth. Members come from diverse backgrounds, but they unite around shared values of integrity, charity, and truth. Now, you might wonder, why does it matter in the bigger picture? Well, understanding Freemasonry helps us see how secret societies and social networks influence history, culture, and even politics. Throughout this presentation, we'll look at its origins, symbolism, and the role it plays today. So, think of this as a foundation, getting to know the basics before we dive deeper into its mysteries and influence. Let's take a closer look at the overview of Freemasonry. First, what exactly is it? Well, Freemasonry is a fraternal organization that traces its roots back to medieval stonemasons' guilds. These guilds were composed of craftsmen who built cathedrals and other great structures, and over time, their associations evolved into a broader organization focused on moral and ethical teachings. It's not just about building, it's about building character and community. Freemasonry promotes a sense of brotherhood and charity among its members, encouraging them to support each other and contribute positively to society. Its origins are often linked to the Enlightenment, a period emphasizing reason, science, and individualism, which shaped many of its core ideals. Now, moving on to the core principles and values. At its heart, Freemasonry is built on principles like brotherhood, charity, integrity, and the pursuit of knowledge. These aren't just abstract ideas. They serve as guiding values that help members develop personally while also supporting each other. The organization encourages members to act morally and ethically, fostering a sense of responsibility both within the fraternity and in the wider community. Ultimately, these principles aim to promote moral growth and social betterment, aligning individual development with the greater good. Finally, let's talk about some of the symbols used in Freemasonry and what they mean. Symbols like the square and compasses are perhaps the most recognizable. They represent morality and the importance of balancing spiritual and material aspects of life. The square symbolizes morality, doing what is right, while the compasses stand for self-control and spiritual boundaries. The all-seeing eye symbolizes divine providence, reminding members of a higher power watching over us. And then there's the G, often seen in Masonic imagery, which can stand for God, geometry, or the pursuit of knowledge, highlighting how vital understanding and discovery are to the Masonic path. These symbols serve as visual tools to remind members of their moral responsibilities and the spiritual journey they undertake. Now, let's explore the influence of Freemasonry in history, starting with its connection to the Enlightenment. During this period, Freemasonry emerged as a movement that championed reason, individualism, and a cosmopolitan outlook. It became a hub for intellectual exchange, bringing together some of the most influential figures of the time. This collaboration helped shape new political and social ideas, especially those that laid the groundwork for democratic principles and human rights. Moving on to its role in political movements, Freemasonry played a significant part in promoting ideals like liberty, equality, and fraternity. Many leaders, presidents, monarchs, and revolutionaries were Freemasons themselves. This common membership created a network that helped spread revolutionary ideas and inspired changes in governance and societal structures across different countries. Lastly, let's look at how Freemasonry served as a network that impacted international relations. Its members included key figures such as presidents and kings, who used their shared values to foster diplomacy and collaboration. This interconnected web of relationships not only influenced political decisions, but also helped shape major historical events. Overall, Freemasonry's influence extended beyond individual beliefs. It helped shape the course of history through its ideas and connections. Now, as we look at some of the key figures in American history, it's important to recognize how their contributions shaped the nation we know today. These individuals each played a vital role in defining moments, whether through leadership, innovation, or advocacy. Their stories help us understand the complex fabric of American history and the ongoing journey toward progress. By highlighting these figures, we're connecting past achievements and struggles to the broader theme of how perseverance and vision can transform a nation. Remember, these key figures are more than just historical icons. They represent ideals and lessons that continue to influence us today. Now, let's talk about some of the founding fathers who were also Freemasons and how their involvement helped shape the early United States. First up is George Washington. As a prominent Freemason, Washington's leadership went beyond the battlefield. He actively promoted the principles of liberty and equality, core Masonic values, that became the foundation of the new nation. His role in establishing the United States reflected these ideals, fostering a sense of unity and civic responsibility among Americans. Essentially, his Masonic influence helped shape the identity of the young nation and emphasized the importance of shared values in nation building. Moving on to Benjamin Franklin, another key figure and dedicated Freemason. Franklin was a true Enlightenment thinker, championing reason, liberty, and scientific inquiry. His advocacy for education and social progress was deeply rooted in Masonic ideals, which emphasized knowledge and civic virtue. Franklin's ideas helped shape the structure of American government and society, illustrating just how transformative Masonic values were for the founding principles of the country. And then there's Paul Revere, a hero of the American Revolution and also a Freemason. His involvement in Masonic circles wasn't just social, it was strategic. Masonic networks provided vital opportunities for networking and alliance building. During the famous Midnight Ride, Revere's connections and dissemination of critical information were crucial to alerting patriots of British advances. His Masonic ties helped facilitate communication and coordination when it mattered most. So, in summary, these founding fathers weren't just political leaders. They were also Freemasons whose values and networks played a significant role in shaping America's foundations. Their involvement highlights how Masonic principles of liberty, reason, and fraternity were woven into the very fabric of the nation's birth. Now, let's take a closer look at some of our nation's presidents and their connections to Freemasonry. Starting with Theodore Roosevelt, the 26th president. He was a well-known Freemason and really embodied the core values of brotherhood and leadership that Masonry promotes. As a Rough Rider, Roosevelt showed incredible bravery and determination, traits that align closely with Masonic principles. His leadership during his presidency had a lasting impact on American society, shaping it in many ways. Moving on to Franklin D. Roosevelt, another distinguished Freemason. His leadership during the Great Depression and World War II was truly remarkable. He introduced the New Deal, which transformed the economic landscape of the United States, providing relief and recovery. His ability to inspire hope and resilience during these crises helped unify the nation, and that legacy continues to influence us today. Finally, we have Harry S. Truman, the 33rd president. He was actively involved in Freemasonry, and his values clearly influenced how he led. Truman emphasized integrity and dedicated himself to public service, reflecting Masonic ideals. His focus on diplomacy and civil rights also left a significant mark, shaping post-war America in meaningful ways. What ties all these leaders together is their shared connection to Freemasonry, and how those values, brotherhood, service, resilience, are woven into their leadership styles. These examples remind us that the principles of Masonry have played a role in shaping the leadership that has guided our nation through both challenging and prosperous times. Let's take a closer look at the relationship between the British monarchy and Freemasonry. Throughout history, many members of the royal family have been known to be Freemasons, which suggests there's been a significant connection between the two. Freemasonry, as you know, is a fraternal organization that emphasizes values like brotherhood, morality, and personal development. This connection is important because it highlights how secret societies and the monarchy might have intertwined interests or influences over centuries. It also raises questions about how these ties could have shaped decisions or policies within the British Empire and beyond. By understanding this relationship, we get a glimpse into how powerful networks operate behind the scenes, often blending tradition, influence, and secrecy. Connecting this to the overall theme of the presentation, it shows how hidden alliances and organizations can play a role in shaping the course of history, even at the highest levels of power. Now, let's take a closer look at some of the historic kings and their connection to the craft, starting with King Edward VII, who was a well-known Freemason. His influence was significant because he played a key role in modernizing the monarchy and shaping how the public viewed it. His diplomatic skills helped strengthen ties within the Commonwealth, which was crucial at the time. Importantly, his open affiliation with Freemasonry helped to legitimize the craft's social role, blending traditional values with more progressive ideals. Moving on to King George VI, another prominent Freemason. His commitment to the organization embodied core values like duty and service. During difficult times, especially during World War II, his Masonic engagement helped bolster leadership and fostered a sense of unity and morale across the nation. His involvement showed that Freemasonry could play a vital role in supporting national resilience. Finally, we have Charles, the Prince of Wales. He's shown a more modern interest in Freemasonry, supporting its charitable activities while also advocating for transparency and relevance in today's society. His engagement reflects a desire to honor the traditional Masonic values, but also to adapt and stay meaningful in the contemporary world. Overall, these figures demonstrate how Freemasonry has evolved within the monarchy, merging tradition with modernity, and serving both social and national purposes throughout history. Let's take a closer look at how Freemasonry has historically influenced British politics. Throughout history, it's been a network that fostered connections among influential figures, helping shape government policies and decisions. Prominent members, including members of the royal family, often leveraged Masonic principles like brotherhood and mutual support. These values helped forge alliances, creating stability within the monarchy and beyond. Moving on to the British Commonwealth, Freemasonry played a significant role in its development. The royal ties to Freemasonry helped establish political relationships and policies that promoted important ideals like democracy, civic responsibility, and social welfare. These efforts contributed to a sense of unity and shared values among diverse nations within the Commonwealth. Finally, when we consider British law, the influence of Freemasonry becomes quite evident. Many monarchs and politicians were Freemasons, and their principles, such as liberty and equality, found their way into legislation. This helped shape a legal framework that prioritized civil rights and democratic ideals, reinforcing the notion that Freemasonry's values have had a lasting impact on the governance of Britain. In essence, the influence of Freemasonry on British politics is multifaceted, shaping the monarchy, fostering unity across nations, and influencing laws that uphold core democratic principles. It's a thread that runs through many aspects of Britain's political history. Today, I want to explore the intriguing connection between Freemasonry and revolutionary movements. Freemasonry, as many of you know, is a fraternal organization that emphasizes moral development, charity, and the pursuit of knowledge. But throughout history, it's often been linked, sometimes controversially, to political upheaval and revolutionary ideas. One key point is that many revolutionaries, especially during the Enlightenment era, were Freemasons. They shared ideals like liberty, equality, and fraternity, values that align closely with Masonic principles. This has led some to suggest that Freemasonry served as a network for spreading revolutionary ideas across borders. It's important to understand, however, that Freemasonry itself isn't a political organization. Its focus is on personal development and moral virtue. But because it fosters a sense of brotherhood and encourages questioning authority, it naturally became a space where revolutionary sentiments could flourish and be discussed openly. Connecting this to our overall theme, it's fascinating to see how an organization rooted in moral and philosophical teachings could influence broader social and political change. It highlights how ideas, when shared within networks like Freemasonry, can inspire movements that reshape entire nations. So, while Freemasonry isn't solely responsible for revolutions, its role as a catalyst for revolutionary thinking and its influence on key figures of change is certainly worth noting. On this slide, we're exploring the role of Freemasons during the American Revolution. One key event we'll look at is the Boston Tea Party. From a Masonic perspective, this act of defiance was more than just protest. It was driven by core Masonic ideals like liberty and resistance to tyranny. It's a vivid example of how Masonic unity among revolutionaries helped fuel the fight for independence. Now, these principles of equality and fraternity weren't just abstract ideas. They directly influenced the colonists' actions. The lodge's role in shaping revolutionary sentiment was significant because it fostered a sense of shared purpose and mutual support among those fighting for freedom. Moving on, we see that many of the key leaders of the Revolution, like George Washington, Benjamin Franklin, and Paul Revere, were Freemasons. Their shared values of liberty, equality, and fraternity weren't just personal beliefs. They helped inspire and organize the movement. These leaders used their Masonic ideals as a foundation to unite the colonists and push for independence. Finally, these same Masonic principles played a crucial role in shaping the Declaration of Independence. Think about how Thomas Jefferson and Benjamin Franklin infused Enlightenment ideas, like liberty and individual rights, into the document. These ideals resonated deeply during the Revolution and helped establish a new nation based on democratic principles that continue to influence us today. So overall, this slide highlights how Freemasonry was more than just a fraternal organization. It was a powerful force that helped shape the ideas and actions that led to American independence. Now, let's explore how Freemasonry played a role in other major revolutionary movements beyond the American Revolution. Starting with the French Revolution, we see that Masonic influence was quite significant. Many of the revolutionary leaders, like Robespierre and Lafayette, were actually members of Masonic lodges. Their involvement helped promote core Enlightenment ideals such as liberty, equality, and fraternity. These values challenged the traditional monarchy and social hierarchies, leading to radical changes in how society was organized. It wasn't just about secret rituals. It was about fostering ideas that inspired social reform and pushing the boundaries of the existing order. Moving on to Latin American independence movements, Freemasonry again played a crucial role. It served as a unifying force among revolutionaries, providing a network that connected leaders across different regions. Figures like Simón Bolívar and José de San Martin were Masons, and through their Masonic ties, they shared ideals of liberty and self-determination. Freemasonry helped foster a sense of solidarity and shared purpose, which was vital in coordinating efforts to break free from colonial rule. Finally, let's look at the Haitian Revolution. Many of its leaders, including Jean-Jacques Dessalines and Henry Christophe, were also Freemasons. The values of liberty, brotherhood, and equality embedded in Freemasonry deeply influenced their vision for independence. These principles inspired their fight against colonial oppression and underscored the importance of unity among formerly enslaved people and oppressed communities. Overall, these examples highlight how Freemasonry's ideals and networks served as catalysts for revolutionary change across different contexts and regions, connecting the broader theme of how secret societies can influence societal transformation. Now, let's take a closer look at how Freemasonry has historically interacted with the arts. Throughout history, many Freemasons have been influential artists, musicians, writers, and architects. This connection isn't coincidental. Freemasonry emphasizes values like creativity, craftsmanship, and the pursuit of knowledge, which naturally align with artistic expression. You'll find that some of the most renowned figures in art and culture were Freemasons, and they often used their work to reflect Masonic ideals. For example, architecture is a key area where Masonic symbolism can often be seen, especially in grand buildings and cathedrals. This relationship between Freemasonry and the arts serves to illustrate how the organization promotes not just personal development, but also cultural and intellectual growth. It ties into the broader theme of our presentation, that Freemasonry has played a significant role in shaping ideas, creativity, and societal progress over centuries. So, in essence, Freemasonry has served as both a catalyst and a supporter of artistic endeavors, fostering a legacy that continues to influence art and culture today. Let's take a closer look at some of the most influential literary figures who were also Freemasons. First, we have Mark Twain. Twain was not just a famous author. His Masonic membership deeply influenced his writing. You can see themes like brotherhood, moral integrity, and social justice woven throughout his works. His experiences in the fraternity helped him explore human nature and the complexities of society, reflecting core Masonic values in his storytelling. Moving on to Arthur Conan Doyle, the creator of Sherlock Holmes. Doyle was a notable Freemason, and this clearly shows in his stories. He incorporated Masonic themes such as brotherhood and moral uprightness, emphasizing reason and the relentless search for truth. These elements align perfectly with Masonic ideals, making his work not just entertaining, but also philosophically rich. And then there's Robert Burns, the celebrated poet. Burns was also a prominent Freemason, and his poetry is filled with Masonic ideals. His works often highlight brotherhood, equality, and the human condition. Through his poetry, Burns celebrates both the joys and struggles of life, embodying the philosophical principles of Freemasonry while contributing significantly to literature and Masonic thought. So, when we look at these figures, Twain, Doyle, and Burns, we see how their Masonic affiliations deeply influenced their writings. They used their craft to explore and promote values like brotherhood, integrity, and social justice, which are at the heart of Freemasonry. It's a fascinating intersection of art and philosophy, showing how Masonic principles can inspire profound cultural contributions. Let's explore how Freemasonry has influenced music and theater throughout history. Many renowned composers, like Mozart and Beethoven, were actually deeply connected to Masonic ideals. These connections often found their way into their music, inspiring themes of brotherhood, unity, and enlightenment. You can see how their Masonic ties helped shape their compositions to reflect deeper values of transcendence and moral integrity. Moving on to classic theater, many plays incorporate Masonic themes too. Writers like Shakespeare and Goethe embed symbols and ideas related to enlightenment and moral virtue, which are core to Freemasonry. These elements add layers of meaning to their works, inviting the audience to reflect on brotherhood and moral integrity. And when we look at modern entertainment, the influence of Freemasonry is still evident. Many contemporary artists and composers draw inspiration from these Masonic principles, weaving themes of enlightenment, fraternity, and morality into their work. Overall, It's clear that Freemasonry's values have left a lasting mark on the arts, shaping how stories and music express ideas of unity and moral growth across the ages. Let's take a closer look at the relationship between Freemasonry and science. Throughout history, many Freemasons have been deeply involved in scientific discovery and innovation. In fact, the organization has often promoted knowledge, inquiry, and the pursuit of understanding the natural world. This connection highlights how Freemasonry isn't just about rituals or secrecy. It also encourages intellectual growth and curiosity. Notably, some prominent scientists and thinkers were Freemasons, believing that the ideals of brotherhood and enlightenment could advance scientific progress. This shared commitment to knowledge helped foster an environment where scientific ideas could flourish. Overall, this relationship underscores a broader theme in our presentation: the balance between tradition and progress. Freemasonry, while rooted in long-standing rituals, has historically supported the advancement of science and human understanding. It's a fascinating intersection that reminds us how organizations can influence cultural and intellectual development over the centuries. Now, let's take a closer look at some of the scientific pioneers who were also Freemasons and how their work reflects Masonic principles. First, Sir Isaac Newton. As many of you know, Newton was not only a groundbreaking physicist and mathematician, but also a proud Freemason. His relentless pursuit of knowledge and his emphasis on enlightenment truly embody Masonic ideals. When we think about Newton, we see someone driven by inquiry, reason, and a deep desire to uncover universal truths, all core to both science and Freemasonry. Moving on to Nikola Tesla, a true visionary inventor and engineer. Tesla's work in electricity and magnetism revolutionized modern technology, but what's fascinating is how Masonic principles influenced his approach. He valued knowledge, innovation, and also had a strong humanitarian focus. Tesla's innovations weren't just about advancing technology, they were about improving human life, which aligns perfectly with the Masonic goal of bettering society through knowledge and progress. And then there's Thomas Edison, an inventor whose contributions changed everyday life. Edison exemplified Masonic values through his dedication to innovation, education, and community service. His inventions made a real difference in people's lives, demonstrating a commitment to societal improvement. Edison also believed in sharing knowledge and empowering others, which mirrors the Masonic emphasis on moral integrity and lifting up the community. So, across these three remarkable figures, Newton, Tesla, and Edison, we see how Masonic ideals of inquiry, innovation, and service have fueled some of the greatest scientific achievements in history. Their lives remind us that the pursuit of knowledge, paired with a sense of moral responsibility, can truly transform the world. Let's explore how Masons have historically impacted scientific progress. Throughout history, Freemasonry has been a strong supporter of education and research. They've funded universities and scientific projects, creating an environment that encourages intellectual growth. This support has helped lead to major breakthroughs across various fields, demonstrating how Masonic values promote knowledge and innovation. Now, moving on to their role in scientific societies. Freemasonry played a key part in nurturing these groups by championing Enlightenment ideals. Think of promoting reason, curiosity, and open exchange of ideas. Masonic networks helped connect prominent scientists, facilitating collaboration and the sharing of ideas. These connections often led to the establishment of important scientific institutions that still influence us today. Finally, let's consider the legacy of Masonic contributions to science. Many notable scientists in history were Masons, and their shared values of reason and empirical evidence helped shape modern scientific thinking. Their environment of inquiry and collaboration pushed forward discoveries and technological advancements. Their influence is still felt today, as their ideals continue to underpin scientific communities and ongoing innovations. Overall, Mason's commitment to knowledge has left a lasting mark on the progress of science and discovery. Now, let's take a step back and look at how Freemasonry is viewed around the world. When we talk about global perspectives, we're really exploring how different cultures and societies interpret and engage with this organization. It's fascinating to see that while the core principles of Freemasonry, like brotherhood, moral development, and charity, are pretty universal, the way it's practiced and perceived can vary quite a bit from one country to another. In some regions, Freemasonry is seen as a venerable institution with deep historical roots, often linked to important national events or figures. In others, it might be viewed with suspicion or even outright hostility, sometimes due to political or religious reasons. This diversity of opinion highlights how Freemasonry interacts with local traditions, values, and beliefs. Understanding these different perspectives helps us see the organization not just as a secret society, but as a complex, evolving entity that adapts to its cultural context. It also reminds us that the themes we've been discussing, like influence, secrecy, and moral philosophy, are interpreted differently depending on where you are in the world. This global view enriches our overall understanding of Freemasonry's role in history and society, emphasizing that it's a truly worldwide phenomenon with many layers of meaning. As we look at Freemasonry across different cultures, it's clear that the tradition is incredibly adaptable and has taken on unique characteristics depending on the region. In Europe, for example, we see how different countries have shaped Freemasonry according to their local customs. The UK, for instance, emphasizes charity work and a sense of community, reflecting its broader societal values. France, on the other hand, tends to focus more on secularism and philosophical discussions, highlighting an intellectual approach rooted in Enlightenment ideals. These variations show how Freemasonry can evolve while still promoting core principles like brotherhood and moral development. Moving over to Africa, Freemasonry's story is especially fascinating. It emerged within a context rich with indigenous traditions, which it blended with Western influences brought through colonial contact. In many African countries, Freemasonry became a platform for social networking and education, helping promote development and progress. It also played a subtle yet important role in navigating colonial legacies and supporting independence movements, fostering a sense of unity and empowerment among its members. In Asia, we see another interesting blend, where Freemasonry often intersects with local cultural practices. Here, it has influenced social reforms and emphasized values like liberty and brotherhood, principles that resonate universally, but are expressed through local lenses. A notable example is Sun Yat-sen in China, who drew upon Masonic ideas to inspire movements aimed at modernization and nation-building. In each of these regions, Freemasonry demonstrates its ability to adapt, influence social change, and promote its foundational ideals across diverse cultural landscapes. Let's take a closer look at some of the most famous international Freemasons and their influence on history. First, we have Simón Bolívar, a central figure in Latin America's fight for independence. Not only was he a revolutionary leader, but he was also a prominent Freemason. His Masonic principles, liberty, equality, and fraternity, really shaped his vision for a free and united Latin America. These ideas fueled his revolutionary efforts and left a lasting mark on the political landscape of the region. Bolívar's legacy, as both a liberator and a Mason, highlights how Freemasonry often intertwines with pivotal moments of change. Next, we turn to Giuseppe Garibaldi, a key player in unifying Italy. He heavily relied on the principles of brotherhood and equality, core to Freemasonry, to bring together diverse factions and rally support. His leadership, along with strategic alliances, was instrumental in unifying Italy into a single nation. This shows how Freemasonry's ideals influenced national identities and democratic aspirations during the 19th century. Finally, we look at Winston Churchill. His Masonic roots played a subtle but important role in his leadership style. Initiated in 1901, Churchill's connections within Freemasonry provided him with a network of influential contacts. This undoubtedly helped shape his diplomatic strategies, especially during critical moments like World War II. His Masonic background contributed to his reputation as a decisive and resourceful leader. So, as we see, these figures exemplify how Freemasonry's principles have historically impacted major political and revolutionary movements around the world. Their stories remind us that the influence of Freemasonry often extends beyond individual beliefs, shaping broader historical currents that continue to resonate today. Let's take a closer look at modern Freemasonry. Today, Freemasonry is a global organization with roots that go back centuries, but it continues to evolve and adapt to the modern world. It's important to understand that while traditional symbols and rituals remain, the focus has shifted more towards personal development, moral improvement, and community service. Freemasonry today emphasizes values like integrity, charity, and brotherhood, aiming to create a positive impact both within its members and in society at large. This modern approach helps it stay relevant and appealing to new generations, fostering a sense of unity and shared purpose. It's also more transparent and engaged in social issues, reflecting the broader societal changes we see around us. So, when we talk about modern Freemasonry, we're looking at an organization that respects its history, but is also committed to growth, inclusivity, and making a meaningful difference in the world. This connects to the overall theme of how secret societies adapt and persist through changing times, maintaining their relevance and influence. Now, let's take a closer look at how contemporary Masonic organizations are structured and function today. Modern lodges operate within a clear hierarchy, usually starting from local chapters, then regional bodies, and ultimately the Grand Lodge that oversees everything. Think of it as a tree with multiple levels, each supporting and guiding the next. These lodges are more than just meeting places. They serve as vibrant community centers focused on fellowship, moral development, and charity work. They work hard to preserve traditional rituals and ceremonies that help foster a sense of brotherhood and personal growth among members. Moving on to their role in community service and philanthropy, contemporary Freemasonry places a strong emphasis on giving back. Many lodges actively support local charities, educational programs, and healthcare initiatives. This commitment isn't just about charity for charity's sake. It's about building a more engaged and compassionate community. By doing so, they promote core values like charity, solidarity, and moral integrity, which resonate both within the organization and in the broader society. Of course, modern Freemasonry also faces some significant challenges. Membership numbers are declining in many places, which raises concerns about its future relevance. There's also ongoing public misunderstanding. People often see it as secretive or elitist, which can lead to misconceptions. Critics argue that Freemasonry feels outdated or disconnected from today's societal issues. However, supporters highlight the organization's ongoing philanthropic efforts and its role in fostering community bonds as evidence of its continued importance. So, in essence, while Freemasonry faces hurdles, its core principles of brotherhood, charity, and moral development remain vital, adapting to the needs of modern society while staying true to its traditions. As we look to the future of Freemasonry, one of the key themes is adaptation to our changing societal values. Modern Freemasonry needs to evolve by embracing inclusivity and diversity, which are vital for remaining relevant in today's world. This means promoting gender equality, social justice, and greater community engagement, ensuring that our principles resonate with contemporary beliefs and that we continue to attract new members who share these ideals. Another important aspect is the role of technology. Technology is transforming how we connect, making communication easier, enabling virtual meetings, and facilitating collaborative projects across distances. Online platforms help us foster a sense of community and outreach, which is especially important for attracting a new generation of members. At the same time, we can preserve our traditional values and rituals, blending the old with the new. This evolution opens up significant opportunities for growth and innovation within our fraternity. And lastly, Freemasonry's core principles, brotherhood, ethics, personal development, will continue to influence future leaders. These values inspire us to prioritize collaboration, integrity, and social responsibility. As a result, we're helping shape a society that's more inclusive and enlightened, one that values collective progress over individual ambition. So, in essence, by embracing change and staying true to our core principles, Freemasonry can continue to play a meaningful role in shaping a better future. And that brings us to the conclusion. Throughout this presentation, we've explored the key concepts and strategies that are essential for success in this area. We've seen how understanding the core principles can really make a difference in how we approach challenges and opportunities. Most importantly, we've connected these ideas back to our overall theme of growth and innovation, emphasizing that continuous learning and adaptation are vital. Remember, the key points are not just theoretical. They have practical applications that can help us improve our processes and outcomes. So, I encourage you to take these insights, think about how they apply to your own work, and start implementing them today. Thank you for your attention, and I look forward to seeing how we all put these ideas into action. As we come to the end of our journey, let's take a moment to reflect on Freemasonry's enduring legacy. Throughout history, influential figures associated with Freemasonry have played pivotal roles in shaping our world. Their leadership, innovation, and philanthropy have left a lasting mark on society. What's remarkable is how their core principles, brotherhood, moral integrity, and civic responsibility, often drove societal progress and fostered positive change. These values didn't just stay within the fraternity. They influenced broader global affairs and governance, highlighting the profound impact Freemasonry has had behind the scenes. Now, many of these values, brotherhood, charity, and integrity, are still incredibly relevant today. They serve as guiding principles not only for Freemasons, but also for individuals and leaders across the world. These ideals encourage ethical decision-making and inspire us to serve our communities. In a way, they form a moral compass that helps promote collaboration and social harmony, especially in our complex modern society. Finally, I'd like to leave you with a thought about history's hidden hands. Freemasonry's influence is woven into the fabric of history through the actions of those influential members who believed in enlightenment and civic duty. Their contributions remind us that often, it's the collective beliefs and values of a community, though sometimes unseen, that subtly guide political and social progress. Reflecting on this helps us understand how ideas rooted in brotherhood and responsibility can shape the course of history, encouraging us to consider the power of shared ideals in shaping our future. Now, as we come to the final part of our session, I'd like to open the floor for questions and discussion. This is your opportunity to share thoughts, ask for clarifications, or explore ideas further. We encourage you to consider how Freemasonry has influenced not just individual leaders, but broader historical events and societal shifts. Think about the implications of Masonic membership. How might it have shaped decisions, leadership styles, or even the course of history? Sharing your perspectives can deepen our collective understanding of these interconnected stories. Exploring the impact of Freemasonry on leadership and societal change really invites us to look more closely at its historical significance. By delving into the contributions of lesser-known figures, we can uncover how these networks and ideas helped shape global events in ways that might not be immediately obvious. If you're interested in learning more, there are great resources available. For example, I recommend Freemasonry, A Journey Through Ritual and Symbol by W. Kirk McNulty, which offers a detailed look at the symbolism and rituals. Visiting official Masonic websites and watching documentaries can also provide valuable insights into the history and influence of Freemasonry. So, I invite you now to share your thoughts or questions. Let's have an open, enriching discussion that helps us appreciate the profound ways Freemasonry has impacted history and leadership. And finally, I want to emphasize the importance of engagement. So, if you found this content valuable, don't forget to like, comment, or repost to share it with others. And of course, a simple thanks goes a long way in building community. Now, you might have noticed the phrase, burning Afrobeats, at the bottom. This is more than just a catchy title. It symbolizes how Afrobeats is taking the world by storm, transforming music scenes globally and igniting passion among fans and artists alike. This slide really ties everything together, showing how sharing, commenting, and engaging online helps fuel this cultural movement. It's about more than just music. It's about community, connection, and celebration of a vibrant, dynamic genre. So I encourage you all to be part of this movement, whether by liking, commenting, or reposting, because your engagement helps keep the fire burning and the Afrobeat spirit alive worldwide.